give Wales the other day, which was last Saturday. I was lucky enough to get some tickets to go and watch Wales against Argentina, the second test in the Principality, and safe to say Wales were absolutely destroyed. Really poor performance by Wales in the second test, and compared to the first test, I thought the Argentina were going to get stronger, but we definitely did see Argentina rediscover that 2020 form that led them to victory over the All Blacks and a couple of draws as well against Argentina. Against Australia last year. They were really impressive, in fairness, the Pumas. Matera was really good. Sanchez controlled all the way throughout as well. I thought the 9 was pretty good as well, Kubeli, and the pack was absolutely immense. It's nice to see for Kanduisa at 7 starting to find a little bit of top-tier international form again as well. Kramer was brilliant. Absolutely superb performance by Argentina, but just going to pick over the bones of the game. So, just the final score then, just to recap, was Argentina 33, Wales 11, which really 20-point margin didn't really flatter Argentina at all, I didn't think. If anything, I thought Wales were very, very lucky to get the 11 that they did get. Initially in the first half, Wales, first 20 minutes, they did look as if they were putting some nice things together, creating some overlaps, some good backline play, some good backline moves. But what was apparent after the first 20 minutes that really continued throughout the entire game and didn't get better even when the bench was unloaded in the second half was just the level of handling errors. It was just absolute crap, and I wouldn't even insult schoolboys by saying it was schoolboy level, because it wasn't even schoolboy level. Poor handling, poor catch and pass. It was just absolutely abysmal. Every other catch and pass was going to deck. Nobody on the field really was sort of putting their hand up and leading. I think you could definitely see the game, the lack of leaders, the lack of personalities on the field. It really did get away from Wales after about 25-30 minutes. Wales scored a good try, in fairness to them, at the start of the game. Owen Lane was put in after a couple, that try had been coming after about 5-10 minutes. And after that then, the first thing, particularly top level rugby to try not to concede, exit well as soon as you've scored. And Josh Turnbull, as much as he's played well for Cardiff Blues, he was absolutely poor, really poor, absolutely abysmal actually. And his individual error then led to the Argentinian try straight away, which made it 7-5. And really, at that point then, it was just one-way traffic. Wales really did give Argentina a platform. The handling errors, they allowed Argentina's solid scrum to dominate and get that foothold in the game. Wales' line-out started creaking badly then, so they couldn't have any launch pad into a different area of the field. Wales started falling off tackles pretty poorly as well. I did think that Ross Moriarty was the only one really giving a lot of energy and aggression in the Wales pack, which is really poor overall. In fairness, I think for how well Ben Carter did against Canada, he looked really underpowered. Really, Wales's pack looked like an under-20s team playing an international level team. It was that stark, unfortunately. A lot of Wales's top guns have been with the Lions. I know a lot of it's been made that we're missing players through injury or just non-selection. But it doesn't matter what team you put out on the field. Surely, where there's a third-string Welsh team, you should be able to catch and pass the ball, and that is what let Wales down really badly in the game. And Argentina just grew in confidence as soon as these errors started to creep up around half-time, 30 minutes to half-time. Argentina just never looked as if they were in danger of either losing grip of the game, and Wales just never looked as if they were able to rediscover the initial threat that they had in the first half. Second half again was just one-way traffic. It was just a continuation of the same and the same and the same. And just credit has to go to Argentina for that. Their defence was aggressive. They had tightened up on the edge after the first, say, 25 minutes as well. They kicked the ball well. They forced Wales's kick chase and catches into errors. Wales looked really leggy, as if it definitely was the last game of a long season. Whereas the Pumas now will go in and play the Rugby Championship. But even so, it's the last game of the season. You try to go out with a bang if you can, with the same energy, and get over the line. But Argentina, in fairness, they looked as if they were the only team with momentum in the game, that they were going to do anything in the game. Sanchez was slotting the ball over off the tee as well. And I don't think I've ever seen a game with Wales' discipline has been as poor as that either. I mean, the only team I know on a consistent basis that has really poor discipline, which is anywhere between 9 and 15 penalties a game, is England. And we were really poor. But the penalties we gave away were in crucial areas, kickable areas. And it came to it at the end where Argentina were actually turning down 3 points to kick to the corner, which really just says it all. The respect had gone out the window by then, and they were just trying to pile points on then, which is an indictment of the performance that we put on and the lack of fronting up that we did in the game, which was poor. It's a shame really, because I thought Jared Evans had played well the week before when he came on, but couldn't get us fired. Well, he got us firing in the first 20 minutes attack-wise, but when Argentina started to tighten their game up and started carrying through the guts of Wales' midfield, and the changes started to be run then as well. Jonathan Davis's fitness, top tier fitness, or lack of it, was really showing as well then. Just didn't look as if he was anywhere near the player that we knew back in 2019. And he hasn't been really since he's come back from injury, which is sad. Our tackling was pretty poor, nor an awful lot of line speed coming up, nor an awful lot of aggression. We did compete at the breakdown area, but in fairness to Argentina, their clean outs were brilliant. Their quality of ball that Kubeli had to work with was outstanding, really. And I am looking forward now to seeing Argentina go to the Rugby Championship and try to see if they can emulate what they did last year. I think Australia are definitely there for the taking. We'll see what sort of shape South Africa will be in after the Lions tour as well. New Zealand haven't really been tested because they played 2 games against Fiji. One was obviously a contest for an hour, and then the other one wasn't a contest because the referee wouldn't allow it to be a contest. It all bodes well for Argentina. They've got 2 wins and a draw out of their European travel so far. The first 2 games weren't really convincing, but they did well. 3rd game as their launch pad now, so well done to Argentina. Hopefully Wales can regather ready for the autumn campaign, because they've got a pretty tough schedule coming up, and hopefully we're going to have some of our big guns available for that who are on the Lions tour at the moment, because I can definitely say that we lack quality. As soon as you've gone beyond the first, say, match day 25 players, we really struggle, and we don't even look as if we're competitive enough to probably even trouble Italy at this point, I would say. So that's quite. I know you have to blood youngsters, but that was quite concerning, really. And I don't know whether it was a confluence of the fact it was the last game of the season, a lot of new caps have been blooded, lack of leaders on the field. It may be one of those, but ultimately we should have expected better, and we did. A lot of Welsh fans did expect better than losing 33-11 at home to Argentina. But that's gone now. That is it for the season, and I will return with Wales coming up in the autumn, where they will play Fiji, South Africa, Australia and New Zealand. So it's going to be a pretty tough schedule, and we'll see what state Wales are in then. But good luck to Argentina in the Rugby Championships, and I will